New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. This is Rockin' Love, and I am Gil Olmstead. And that is not Robyn, because you don't see anyone, right? So she's not able to join us at the moment today. Things are happening where she is. And so we are giving her a pass to do what she needs to do. I'm missing her, though, because she's not here in Albuquerque, where I am. She was going to be coming to us from our California studio. But apparently, don't know if there was a water leak or what happened, but something happened and she's got to step out and do some other stuff. So, Rockin' Love is a show about relationship. We talk about that every week here, every Wednesday. And the point is to examine what it means to be in relationship. And relationship is all different things. And the thing that I keep discovering over and over and over again is that relationship is primarily about the self, figuring out how we get along with ourselves. And when we can do that and feel good in it, amazingly, other things seem to work out better. So I see Shay is back. Shay, we've missed you. Robyn even brought you up last week. So where's Shay? What's going on? Glad to see you're back. I'll just give you a real brief rundown with the week. Had a good week. Robyn's been, like I said, in California. And so she's been doing family stuff the whole week. I've been here doing some work, trying to catch up on a few things. And finding out that, living alone isn't as much fun as I thought it was. So, it's a good experience. But, had a couple things that have shown up in meetings and things where I went, wow, where'd that come from? And so we might touch on that a little bit today. We do have a special guest today who's a guest hosting with me. There he is, Michael Mangus, otherwise known as our producer. And he is willing to step in today. And we're going to talk a little bit about corporate relationships, about relationships in organizations.
Yes.
And
I'm not familiar with that, am I?
No. Not quite ordained. Reverend Michael Mangus does not have any
Not
idea.
quite ordained, just still licensed. Yeah.
Well, I was not quite ordained for, 12, 14 years. So, So,
do you want to do the good news
with us today? And we're going to chat through a few things. So, Michael, do you have any thoughts about us pulling you in at the last second here?
Well, hey, listen. As I told you, there's a producing fee, and then there's a talent fee.
Yeah, we've discussed that with your manager, and we've already worked it out.
You already.
Who was that exactly? Anyway, there was some number I called. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
So
I will chime in. You can ask me. Well, how was your week, Michael?
How was your week, Michael?
My week was interesting. when I got back from doing conferences, I went ahead and I did, last week I had 5 weddings. And get this, Gil, last Wednesday, when I was not here, rocking the love with you guys, I performed a wedding ceremony, and that the bride gave me not only my honorarium, but this CMO, Chief Marrying Officer. How about that?
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
maybe, I mean, the bylaws at the center where I am say that the person in the senior minister role is the CEO, and perhaps we should change it to CSO, Chief Spiritual Officer. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. That's a little more creative, I think.
Well, I was kidding with people last Friday evening on the Fireside Chat, which is the show that I do here on our wonderful network, New Thought Media Network, which is 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 o'clock Mountain Time, 5 o'clock Pacific
Time. And that would be 7 o'clock Central, just in case anyone's wondering.
So, yeah, I went ahead and I was kidding around. I was saying that I here at New Thought Media Network that instead of money, that the chief operating officer here, Reverend Dr. Robert Brzezinski, he gives me titles.
Titles. Okay.
Yeah. So my current title is that of Vice President of Programming.
Vice President of Programming.
Yeah. So
who's the president of programming? I'm wondering.
I don't know. So I have that title for my resume.
Well, maybe perhaps he's the president, and then the vice presidents have various duties, like programming.
Oh, okay, like news, programming.
Yeah, things like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, giving away titles is one of the few things that you do get to do when you don't have the gift of giving away salaries. So,
well, we'll talk about that here in a moment. So,
and it's 8 a.m. in Australia. Oh,
yes.
Goodness, who knew that?
8 a.m. in Australia.
So we're not in Australia today. So that's Robyn's other show with the Australia connection there, which is actually why I brought this today, because she always gets to drink on her show and I don't. So
well, now hold it.
I'm drinking.
Does that have any alcohol in it?
No alcohol. It's just iced tea.
All right.
So hey, let's talk about good news.
Okay, why don't you go first? I have a good news story.
You have a good news story? Excellent.
So you can go ahead first.
Excellent. I'm going to go first. I've just got to see what I'm talking about here. So there is a very rare deer that has been said. It's the legend about it is that it has the face of a horse, the strength of an ox, the tail of a burro, and the antlers of a deer.
All right.
Okay, so it's a 4-pronged deer. Anyway, it's a very specialized deer, and it was basically hunted to extinction 125 years ago in the wild. But there were a few left in captivity at different places around the world. Now, this is a deer primarily from China. And there weren't any left in China. They were in other places around the world. So a particular duke and politician, Hirbrand Russell, started a herd of these on his property years ago, the beginning of the 19th or 20th century. And so at some point later on, they took 39 of these, and China decided that they were going to protect them. And they actually released them onto land that was once private hunting grounds for the emperor, but now was a a reserve for animals.
Okay.
So they released them, and there was another group that they got a couple of years later from another place. This is all about mid-'80s. So less than 100 deer were released, and they now have 8,200 of them.
How wonderful.
Roaming freely. And now they're looking at introducing them into areas that are less protected, so that they can, so that they actually get acclimated to being in the wild more and dealing more with their predators and stuff, which they don't have to deal with as much in the reserve, I guess. So interesting, but it's in one of those stories for me that just highlights, it doesn't take a lot of people. It doesn't take necessarily a lot of forethought or effort even to just have an idea and go, oh, I'm going to keep some of these going, and then somebody else comes along, his son came along and went, oh, maybe China will reintroduce these and ship some over to them, So, and then there we go. We've got a whole species of animals which basically was gone from the wild that's now back. So there you go. That's
how
my
wonderful.
story.
All right. Well, mine is seniors who listen to music may slash their dementia risk by over a third. Isn't that cool? Older people who listen to music often slash their risk of dementia by more than a third, according to a new study. The researchers studied people over 70 and found that listening to music or playing an instrument is linked to a reduction of up to 39% in the chance of developing the debilitating condition. Increases in life expectancy due to advances in medicine and technology have seen a rise in the prevalence of age-related diseases, including dementia and also cognitive decline. The new study that involved more than 10,000 older folk looked at the benefits of listening to and or playing music. The finding shows that always listening to music, compared with never, rarely, or sometimes do, was associated with a 39% decrease risk in dementia. Playing an instrument was also associated with a 35% reduction in dementia. So I found that very interesting. I think that the whole idea of keeping the brain active in some form or another is very important.
Yeah, I think
in your senior years.
I'm going to have to up my listening to music game, since everything has changed with how you listen to music, and I don't have my DVDs and the player out, and that everything is different, and I don't listen to it as much as I used to at all.
Well, you could listen to New Thought Radio.
Well, that's true.
Which is available. Go to ntmedia.org and then click on the listen. You can listen to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, inspirational music.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. So that's the plug for the radio station. No, I think that keeping the brain active in some form or another, I think, is very important. And they did a study with the Laredo nuns a few years back that they were a group of researchers where they wanted to find out why these women were doing so well in their elder years. And the reason was because, again, that they kept the brain active. They also walked every day. They also had interaction with other people. And so they actually went ahead, and when these ladies passed on, they went ahead and they did an autopsy on their brain. Now, sisters, nuns, they usually don't do any type of autopsies, but they went ahead and they did an autopsy or autopsies on these nuns. What they found out was there was dementia there.
Oh.
But what they did was, again, that it was held off because of their lifestyle. So
the brain was working around it.
Right.
Because they kept the brain active enough to figure out the pathways, it sounds like.
Right. Real good.
Yep. Yeah. Well, hey, I'll tell you something. this makes total sense. As you know, we have a music night every Friday night, Solid Ground Music Cafe at Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living. And I'll tell you the truth, a large portion of those who come and play music are between 60 and 80.
Okay.
And sometimes I'm watching these people thinking, oh my gosh. And a couple of the really, really, really good ones have been like 80, 85.
Right.
You know, and of course we all know that Paul McCartney was just around doing his big, huge concert at 85 or whatever he is, you know, and I have to say, they all seem extremely sharp, you know, and I'm wondering how much of that may be because they've had this love of music. They've continued to play. They've continued to be with friends. They've continued to, you know, whatever the thing, because most all of them are in groups. You know, we have a group coming this week of five friends that all play string instruments, and they're all, you know, I don't think the youngest one can be much under 60. And just from looking at the picture, you know, I don't remember their ages, but I know most of them are older.
So I think the lesson is that if you want your elder years to be productive, is to do something besides watch TV or even scroll.
Yeah.
That, you know, read, learn a new language, go back to school. There's plenty of community colleges that will offer free courses for you to audit.
Yeah.
So the more that you get your brain involved, and also that if you are feeling lonely, is to go out there and to volunteer. There's plenty of organizations to go out there that if you do that, what will happen is, again, that you'll have you'll start developing again a network of friends. So if you don't have one already, so I think that all of that is really important.
Well, I think
for people to understand that. Go ahead.
You develop a network of friends who are also active.
Yes.
You know, and that's a key as well. You know, I have a friend who's going back to school for a master's degree, and he's 65.
Yes.
And he didn't register for his classes until after his 65th birthday because he got his classes for, I think it was free, but it was certainly a huge reduction from what anybody else had to pay, you know? And so it's like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are we going to talk about today here on Rockin' the Love?
Well, we're going to talk about relationships in organizations.
Okay.
So you're in multiple organizations. I'm in multiple organizations. Robyn's in multiple. We're all in different organizations, and all of us have different roles. Sometimes we're in leadership. Sometimes we're, you know, following along. Sometimes we're trying to be a support. Sometimes we're trying to take over. You know, it just all depends. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what it's like to be in those relationships. How is that different from being in some other relationships?
Okay.
So why don't we, what time is it? Yeah. Why don't we take a break?
All right.
And then come back after this, and we'll check in with Robyn in the meantime and see what's up and see if she might be able to join us.
Well, she's in the background producing too. She
looks
putting up things and putting up banners and doing stuff.
All right. So
So she gets the producer fee today.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
And then I get the talent fee.
The question is, what will happen if we try to go to break and she's supposed to do it? This could get foggy.
No, don't touch anything, Robyn. I will do the break. Don't touch anything. All right.
All right. So everybody, thanks. Hang in there. We're going to come back, grab whatever you need. We're going to have some fun time having to talk about this, and we'll be right here on New Thought Media Network.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for being part of the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
Welcome back. This is Rockin' the Love. I'm Gil.
And I'm Michael.
Oh, that's right. It's Gil and Michael today. We are doing the big show, talking about relationships, as we usually do with Robyn,
Right.
who is otherwise engaged today. So Michael and I have jumped in here at the last minute, and we have a fun
I was
topic.
told 5 minutes before airtime.
Really? Was it that long?
Yeah, it was that long.
I wasn't sure it was more than 3.
Okay.
So anyway, so we're gonna jump into this thought about relationships in organizations. What does that mean? What's perhaps what's different than your normal, your personal relationships, your friends out, that you might go out and hang out with for dinner, or so there you go. That's the question. And when I threw this out at you, did you have any thoughts about it at all, Michael?
A couple.
Okay.
The first one is that if we're talking nonprofit organizations, like what you and I are involved in, I think that, again, that the relationship is different. I mean, you are, as the lead person in the organization, whether it be a minister or a team leader, that you have volunteers or people that are not under you, but that you're responsible with, that, again, that have certain tasks, that being able to, put on solid grounds, on Fridays, to be able to work with the youth, to be able to do other activities like small groups, having men's and women's groups. So having individuals that I think buy into the vision of the organization, I think is very important. So, and that they realize that their contribution is valuable. to the organization. That if you have a janitor, especially if they're volunteer, but if you, even if you have a paid janitor, is to understand that they, and also to get across to them that they are an important part of the vision. I think that is what lacks in organizations, is gratitude for your volunteers. And again, we're in the month of gratitude.
So, for your volunteers or your employees, you know.
Right. And I think again, your assistants, your whether they be your ministerial staff or and understand that, see, a lot of times that what individuals don't understand, especially with clergy, is that when you are the lead clergy, thank you, gratitude is the key to any relationship. Absolutely. I think that the one thing that we have to understand is that we are as only good as our gratitude towards our people. And that a lot of what I've noticed in organizations is that individuals give, sometimes hundreds, even thousands of hours every single year. And especially with ministers, let me get back to that real quick, is that individuals do not understand that the job in and of itself is stressful. No matter what denomination that you're in, when you are on staff, and especially if you're the senior minister, the buck stops there. So the whole idea of appreciating your staff, they're appreciating them, taking them occasionally out to lunch, writing them a note, doing things of appreciation for them, I think is very, very important. And the story I've been thinking about lately, I have a friend of mine in a broadcasting, it's not a support group, but I have a group of friends who are in broadcasting or who have been in broadcasting here in the Northeastern Ohio area. And the one gentleman who's a retired newsman, he saves his church $60,000 to $80,000 a year that they would have to pay a media manager to be able to put together all that they do. He runs, the volunteers that he runs are mostly Gen Zs, younger folks than he is, but he really puts together that team to be able to broadcast their service and or stream their service. And I was talking, his name is Larry, and I was talking to Larry. I said, if I was the senior pastor, I would be taking you out to lunch on a regular basis. And he told me, he says, yes, they do, because they realize that as a part of the team to be able to get the message out there that he's an important cog. So taking that kind of mindset and taking it to your organization and asking yourself, if you lead an organization, is how often do I express my gratitude to the volunteers, to the people around me? It is very easy, especially in a volunteer organization. And I've seen this, again, I've been in organizations now for, going on 50 years now. It's very easy not to be able to say, thank you. Oh,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It's very easy for individuals, again, to, you assume things are going to happen on Sunday mornings.
Right. you
you know,
start to take things for granted.
right. So
Yeah.
I think that's an important. I mean, you're not friends with with the people in organizations, but you appreciate them. That you're friendly and you appreciate them. And I think too, especially in spiritual organizations, is for people to understand that they have access to you if they have difficulties or whatever is going on in their life, that they have a team of people around them that really do love them and support them. So
Well,
go ahead.
That's really interesting because in our community, I brought in the idea that I heard from someone else of creating partnerships. And the idea of partnership is that everyone who's a partner, they're not just a member, it's their organization, and they have a hand in how successful it is and how well it shows up and all those kinds of things. And so that's sort of that creating that baseline of attitude.
Yes.
And the other thing is, as you were talking, I was thinking, it's not easy. Well, I don't even know if it's required, and maybe I'm asking that. There's a level at which some really good friends that I have are a part of the center.
Mm-hmm.
Those are my people, and I would definitely count them as friends, and there's no other way to put it. And yet there is sometimes this line of professionalism, but I think in some ways, if you treat people as your friends, then that's what's required. And I think part of that is, like you said, the guy's saving them, Larry's saving them, thousands and thousands of dollars. And that's really important to see. And he's giving his time and he's giving of himself. And that's important. The other side of that is there are others giving, for instance, who are coming in a couple times a month and cleaning the toilets. And that's probably a, $500 a year contribution. And yet it's just as important to say thank you. It's just as important to recognize that each person's gift is their gift, the thing that they can bring. Mm-hmm. And as people show up willing to give what they have, it's a big boon to the organization. And yeah, so anyway, that's one really important aspect of being in relationships. I think another thing is, how do we deal with disappointments or tough times? I mean, like, for instance, my rare times that Rob and I are off from Solid Grounds, I come back and I'm like, why are the bins not put away right? How come the tablecloths aren't in the right place?
Right.
All that goes through my head. But that's not really what's important. I mean, what's important is that somebody was willing to show up and do it, and that whatever the things are that seem to be out of place to me, that can all be corrected over time, or brought into alignment, or I can get over myself. One of the three there, because maybe the bins don't have to be on the third shelf. They can be on the second shelf. Maybe that's right. Really okay.
Well, I think too that brings up sometimes, again, the whole idea of having difficult conversations with individuals is to go ahead and also to have them understand. See, and I think that especially when you work with volunteers, and I get with the friends, mm-hmm. is that what I've noticed over the years is sometimes it's difficult to have especially with friends, to have those conversations that for the organization need to be had. So let's bring in the mystery producer. It says, so some companies are good at expressing their gratitude via activities or making things accessible to employees. But how do we cultivate this gratitude in our organization? How do we bring about this awareness? I think, I think one of the ways of doing that is by, again, having a list. If you're the lead individual in your organization, and you can even parcel this out to others, your other paid employees, is to have a list of individuals that you say thank you to on a regular basis, that you go ahead and you put a card in the center's mailbox, or you go ahead and you send them something and you say, we really appreciate how you give. And I think too that volunteering or giving of your time is also fulfilling for the individual too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That they understand that their contribution, again, is something that even beyond the money. I mean, money is one way of showing appreciation, but
Right.
even beyond payment, again, that having appreciation for your people, and again, understanding that your volunteers also have needs too, and also to be able to meet those needs. Maybe they're having difficulty with other people in the organization. So again, to encourage individuals to work those things out without leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been, for me, the real lesson in organizations, is that many times I have been encouraged, well, why don't you just leave?
Mm-hmm.
And what I learned by staying, again, you were talking about earlier, the relationship that we have, not only with other people. If you have three fingers looking back, it's the relationship that I have with myself. And so if I'm having certain challenges with certain individuals, for me, sometimes I just get into the emotion. Okay. Since this is confession time, I just get into the emotion. However, that when I look at it later on, I say, okay, what is this triggering in me?
Mm-hmm.
If the bins aren't put away properly, then what is that showing in me? How can I, and maybe it's me in there, and maybe there is a better way of putting away the bins that I never thought of. So,
right. Well, in my case, I know what it is. It's that I have such a hard time organizing myself that when I have something organized, damn it, I want it to stay that way. So no, but you're right. It is, all of it is the opportunity to look back at ourselves. And I think one of the things that's obvious, and yet we haven't really said it, is how important communication is.
Yes.
And so we've talked about the idea of communicating our gratitude, but just being in communication and letting people know what's going on, asking people their opinion, giving people the opportunity to share their opinion. The old adage is, if I wanted your opinion, I'd give it to you. And when we function from that space, then relationship breaks down, because people don't feel respected or honored or appreciated. I mean, even if I've never taken them to lunch, but I've acknowledged them and I've invited their comments and invited their things into the conversation, and we've talked about, and everybody has a say, they're feeling a level of appreciation, just from that. and I bring this up in part because as you said, I've seen this where leaders of organizations, particularly spiritual type organizations, will, actually, I could just totally change that.
You're allowed.
I was a restaurant manager years ago, and of course, my wife told me later that when you're on staff and a new manager comes in, you just have to go with they'll get over it and figure it out in a while. So let them go, because the tendency is to walk into a situation and being new, you see lots of things that other people haven't seen, right? And you have lots of ideas that no one else has had. The only problem is that probably most of those ideas other people have had, and perhaps what you're seeing is not exactly what you're seeing, because you haven't asked any questions about, well, why is this? What is, we keep this here because that's the closest refrigerator that we have to this counter, even
Right.
though it's down there. We can't put it anywhere, whatever. So, there was a story once of of a minister that walked in and just took out coffee pots from a certain place and moved them. And people that worked in the kitchen and did that stuff were like, what the heck happened? Well, they don't belong there. I don't like them. That was the reason, right? Well, how respected and honored and appreciated do people feel or communicated with when nobody even asked them, like, hey, what's the deal with these coffee pots? To me, they look kind of crazy. What, oh, well, we used to have them over there, but then we moved them here. And well, what if we tried over there? Oh, that might be a good idea. Have a discussion, look at it, ask questions.
One of the things I think that that is missing again is not only communication, but how do we communicate with our people? Do we do it in a loving fashion?
Yes.
Do we? One of the things that I don't do that I've seen other ministers do is chew their volunteers out from the stage.
Oh,
and do not do that. If I need to correct someone, then it's best done like the good book says. The Bible is you take them aside rather than shaming them in front of everyone. And I've been in situations where individuals will get up and they will correct people from the pulpit. I think that's very inappropriate. So to be able, again, to, maybe something is amiss in the youth ministry. Maybe something is amiss. You're having, but to be able to have honest conversations with individuals, and especially with volunteers, is that to understand that that it's much easier for them to walk than if you are paying them, or if you're paying them a salary. So, so again, to have good communication, learn how to communicate and have good people skills with individuals. And if you don't know how to do that, go get some books. And there is a book called People Skills and I was talking with, this was when I was trying to get into Holmes Institute in like 1999, 2000. And I was talking to the dean of our region. And she said the one thing that she stresses with the ministers in her area is, again, to have good people skills, to learn how to communicate with your people. That's very important. And to have, again, very honest conversations with them. And, to be able also, as a team leader, whether it be the head minister or a team leader of a group of individuals, is before you make changes, is to go ahead and to take it to your team first and to say, we are making this change. How does it affect you? What do you think? Now, you still may make the change, even though and again, you risk losing that team, but still that it's the reason we're making this change is because that individuals, we want to attract more individuals here. And what's coming to mind is having a building in which there's pews in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's say you're the new minister and you come in and you say, oh, pews, and then you go ahead and you get your electric screwdriver and you start taking them out without getting buy-in from your board, without getting buy-in from the people around you. And how you get buy-in is to say why you're doing that, not just take them out.
Yeah.
But to go ahead and say, this is the reason why we're doing it, is because we want to be able to attract other people, that the pew itself may trigger individuals that of a poor church experience in the past. So to get rid of the pews and to go ahead and but again, some ministers, I'm the minister, and they beat their chest. I'm the minister. You're going to do what I tell you to do. I don't think is very loving.
Well,
go ahead.
Part of it is that sort of, it's insidious. It's an underlying thing that we think is good in a certain way, but it's not, and it's taking ownership. I'm in this position. I'm taking ownership of my role. Blah blah blah. But for instance, years ago, I walked into a church. We were having an event with multiple different centers from all different New Thought areas, and it was hosted at this one center, and the choir from there came up and offered some music for what we were doing. It was great. But the minister, who had only been there less than a year, came up and said and announced them as my choir.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how the choir felt. I don't know how anybody else felt, because I wasn't part of it, right? I was from the outside. But from the outside, I was like, oh, that didn't feel good. This is our choir. This is the choir of Rio Grande Center, our community, whatever. My choir?
Well, some cultures, again, that's that kind of ownership. And again, it all depends upon the culture that you're in.
And that may be true. And that's why I say I don't really know. I just know how it affected me. And had I been part of it, it would have had an effect on me. But there's that it's almost being entitled because you have a role. You know what I mean? And it's almost like one shows up and says, well, I'm here because I know best. And so this is what we're doing. Pardon me, I'm hiccuping. I know that, for instance, the very first role I got outside, I'd done my ministry years ago, but in New Thought, out of ministerial school, I went and I candidated for an assistant minister position. And one of the things that people told me later after I got the job, it was listed as being in charge of youth and family, being in charge of Wednesday nights, and being in charge of education. And they said, you were the only one that went upstairs to look at the youth and family area and talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I didn't think anything of it. I was like, well, what do we got? What are we working with here? Who's here? What's going on? And I took that a step further after I started, and I went and I interviewed a couple people that I knew had worked with the youth in that center before for periods of time, the one right before me and one a ways before me who I knew. And I interviewed them to find out what their perspective was, what they knew, what they thought, what their vision was, so that I could get a feel for what was underlying this thing, and that gave me an ability to communicate with other people in a way that was much more in tune, if you will, just having the knowledge, having the experience, and hearing those things.
So I think that brings up for me servant leadership, which is a different form of, and again, this is not picking on
different form of leadership.
This is not picking on what now? Hello, you froze on me, Gil.
On.
Okay.
Wait, are we both back now?
Yeah, we're both back.
Okay.
So, again, if I go up there and beat my chest and say, well, I'm the minister, you're going to do what I don't think that's a very effective form of leading. And I saw that even in our organization.
Oh, yeah.
And so I went ahead and I said to myself, what I want to do, again, you learn things from, they say there's two types of stories in the Bible. Do what these people do, don't do what these people do. So for me, being in organizations has taught me, again, if I'm seeing it out there, that maybe there's, I have to take a look. So my view of ministry is more, is coming from a place of service. How can I serve? How can I help? And that I think it's a much more organic way of leadership. And also that being the leader, or also the requirement also is for me to lead the vision, whatever that the vision is.
Right.
Because the vision itself will probably have some either individuals or people or roadblocks that in the way. And the whole idea of working through that is to, again, is a metaphor also for our people or our congregation, that when you have a project and that you are birthing a project, to be able to take it from idea to completion, and again, having a leader kind of help with the overflow, and to be able to work with individuals to navigate the waters to get to a completion point. So that's, I think, being the good guide on the way, I think, is very important. So.
Yeah. Well, it is about servant leadership. It is about, it's about making everybody look and feel good. I mean, I've had some great ideas, and I've had people come to me with the same great idea, and they and I've let them have it. It's theirs.
It's their idea.
And it's not that but it's really honest. I've worked with them and told them what I thought and blah, blah, blah. But, we particularly when you're working with people who are volunteering, giving of themselves, my gosh, why not? Why not make them the hero? Right. It's like, oh, that was great. We had this great fundraiser and it was really fun. And, and even to say, it's not necessarily that no one else has ever thought of it. No, but it's that this person ran with it and made it happen, and so there you go.
You're not going to believe this. We're out of time.
I know. I was just looking at that. That's oh man.
So Now, who do I submit my talent?
We haven't trash talked anybody yet, have we? What's the deal?
What do you? No.
See, I'm trying to.
No.
I'm ordained now, so I can say stuff.
That's right.
No, what I heard. You know what I heard was once you're ordained, that means now you can serve on all those committees and give of yourself more. That's what that means.
One more thing is, I think too, you talked about the relationship with yourself. For me, that again, I volunteer most of the time. For those folks who are not familiar, I volunteer my time here at New Thought Media Network. Mm-hmm. I volunteer when I do get paid a small stipend, but working conferences and doing things. So what I do is I take a conference a year and I say, I'm not doing anything. I'm not setting up chairs. I'm not greeting. I'm not doing anything. And just go ahead and again, sometimes, in the last conference that I went to that I picked, they were setting up chairs, and, the automatic response would be go ahead and help them. But again, I just said, no, this time I'm just, I have to let that go. This is my conference for me. So that's been a real good spiritual lesson for me, is to be able to let other people serve me.
And let other people serve, and
yes.
to know that I don't have to put my service on display all the time.
No,
I think I should always be serving. And I think there's a part of me, that little part that's like, well, they should know that I care, that and I think that's part of that personal growth that we look at and we go, am I really doing this for the people, or am I kind of, putting on a show here? And
if you really want to grow spiritually, again, if you have that call to ministry, say yes to it. And because it for me, it has, it really has helped me again to deepen my spiritual life, and also to not only with the divine, but also with other people. One of the gifts that I have in my life is the gift of community.
Yeah.
Because in community, that's where I learn with other people. Mm-hmm. Is that, having, and it's a real gift. If you really want to grow spiritually, it's not in the books. You can go ahead and meditate all you want, but it's in the inner. How do I treat other people? What do I do when I get really upset? And again, I had to learn this. Do I react, mm-hmm. or do I respond? Mm-hmm. So that's been again, by staying in this organization, or by staying in religious science churches. That's what I've learned. All right.
Thank you so much, Michael, for joining us. This was fun joining me.
Thank you.
I know Robyn appreciates it, and everybody, thank you so much for joining us here on.
Well, join us tomorrow night for the most dangerous show that we have on this network, which is Girls Behaving Metaphysically.
And that would be at 4 p.m. Mountain Time.
Yes.
And that includes Robyn and Dr. Natasha.
Oh,
it's a
great show.
I don't know, but it should be fun. It always is. And then Friday night, we have Reverend Michael's show, which comes on shortly before, or just before, Solid Grounds Music Cafe comes on the network. So we have a lot of stuff going on. Those are just the ones that we're all involved in. And there's others. So check it out. Thanks so much for coming, everybody. We will see you on the flip side next week, and have a great week.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.